Okay, Mike, you're from the UAE. Mike, try and get into Menti if you can. Taiwan. Wow.
Fabulous. We're all over the place, aren't we? Okay, so if you've had a chance to enter in your information, we're going to move on to the next slide in the Menti, which is, what is your industry? So I know this is a very specific workshop, so most of us are probably in some sort of education, but I'd love to hear specifically any particular part of the education industry that you might be calling to learn more from. Cool. A couple English teachers here, great. All right, awesome. And Robert and I are also in the education industry. So we are part of this cohort with you, and we are learning along the way as far as how AI can help us in our work as well. So hopefully we can share some best practices with you, and maybe potentially you can share some best practices with us. We're all learning. Yep, I'm going to move forward in the Menti.
So Mike is from the UAE, and Deraje, I hope that's correct. You're from Ethiopia. You're in education and strategic AI. Awesome.
Cool. All right, so our next question is, tell us how you really feel. And we're talking about AI here. So how do you feel about AI? On the far left is, I completely hate it. I don't want to touch it. I actively avoid it. And on the other side would be, I love it. I use it all the time. It's, it's my favorite thing. So where are you on this continuum? And it's anonymous, so you can be honest. All right, so we're seeing sort of a higher than average.
Mike, what about you? Much higher than we've had before.
Yeah.
Mike, I love it, but I need to learn more. Okay, cool. In the right place.
Great.
And who else? Amira, I love it. Okay.
All right. This is definitely our most positive AI session. That's great. So we're going to now ask you a couple questions about the specifics as far as how you are using it right now. Or actually, we're going to start with hesitation, actually. And I want to hear, like, what might be keeping you from it? It sounds like everybody's pretty positive about it, but if anything were to give you pause when using AI, what might that be? And select all that apply.
Please, where should I go to answer this?
Oh, so if you just go to menti.com, there's a code on the screen, and you can enter in that code and join us.
Right at the top of here, you'll see joinmenti.com over here, and use the code 3643 space 3296. And it's quite fun. Have a look.
All right. So it looks
Anyone
like
else need help?
Is everyone in there?
Melting the planet. Yes. Amira, what can I help you with? So I've got, I don't have, but I feel I'm a slow learner. Can you write the password? Sure. Justine, can you pop the password in? It's very small on my side.
Help with what? I'm sorry?
The password. Can you type it into the
The
Mira
password
just wants
is,
the password.
yeah, it's on the screen. So it's 36433296. It's a code. It's not a password. It shouldn't be asking you for a password.
And it's got a gap. So it's 3643 gap 3296. I hope that helps you, Mira. Okay, Mira's got it. Mira's probably even answered.
Excellent. All right. So not a lot of clustering here. So that's good. Good to know. Good to know. We're kind of hesitations a little bit across the board, not knowing where to start. But you're here, so this is where to start. So I want to move forward in the Menti again, and I want to ask about your confidence using AI. So it sounds like most of you are already using it, at least in some capacity. I would love to know how it feels. Do you feel, you know, like you don't know what you're doing, or do you feel like you're already a cyborg? It's like an extension of yourself. So where are you on that continuum? Thanks, Mike.
Beginner level, Mike. Okay. Me too.
Yeah, we're all learning. This train has not arrived at the station. So this is an evolving body of work, a constant learning journey. So it looks like everybody is sort of, let's say, AI curious, not quite AI confident, and that is A-okay. All right. Let me see if I have any other questions here from the beginning. Yes. All right. So I want to know, how are you using it right now? And so these are sort of general questions based on how people use AI. This is not education specific. We'll get into that later. So I just want to know, what are some of the ways that you're using AI, both personally and professionally? Select all that apply.
Wow.
Cool.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
This
Cool.
is very interesting. Awesome.
Cool. All right. So I'm going to swap back to our original presentation. And I want to get into this particular topic about using AI and how it is currently being used by the majority of people. So this isn't you know, all encompassing. This is sort of a list that we've come up with. But there are 4 kinds of AI users in general. And the first would be called looker-uppers. And these looker-uppers are about 60% of the population. And they use AI as essentially a glorified search engine. So they're using it like they used to use Google, and they're using it to get information, but maybe in a different format, maybe in a more summarized way, and that sort of thing. And this is an absolutely fine use case. It's just important to be aware of the limitations of AI as you're doing that it does, in fact, quite regularly hallucinate, which means it makes up facts. So especially if you're doing research for something technical or work related, you do want to check your sources. You can ask AI for the links. You can read those links. Sometimes those links are out of date. So this is an important part where the human judgment is definitely needs to come into the mix here, the human in the loop, when it comes to research. There are specific AI research tools, apps that are designed to be for researching, and that's all they do. But if you're using one of the regular popular LLMs such as ChatGPT, Claude, or Copilot. Just be aware of the limitations of its accuracy. But it is the way most people are using it. And then in terms of the second most popular way to use AI is as a email editor. So people are using it to compose their emails and draft it really quick, and then hopefully editing it a little bit before they send it off, as well as drafting replies. I like to say that I am a big fan of this because sometimes we get that email that makes us feel a certain way, and it is a nice practice as a human to pause, breathe, and not fling back that emotionally charged email and maybe run it through an editor prior. So email architects, that is about 40% of people, or 40% of people use it this way. Then we have chat friends. So it looked like most of the people on the call don't use it in this way. And it's also not in general the way that most people use it as well. It's kind of the smallest percentage, at least the reported percentage, is people aren't really using it as a friend, a boyfriend, or a therapist, as companionship, which I think is a good thing that we're not doing it that way. It can be helpful to sort of develop a relationship with your AI in terms of allowing it to know your preferences and what you're looking for so that you don't have to continually reprompt. But probably not best to get engaged to your AI. And then finally, we have the category of cyborgs, which we have no data on yet. But this is folks like us who like to use AI as an extension of self. We're not really differentiating who we are from the tool. It's just part of us, part of our body, and part of our brain, in a way in which we work has changed entirely. So this is kind of just general stats right now, and I'd love to get into the specifics now about how we use AI so you can understand our backgrounds and a little bit about our strengths as individuals. So I'm going to pass the mic back to Robert, and he can share how he uses AI.
Cool. I think you can see my primary use is a lot of fun. I think, well, I don't think I know, a lot of people are quite afraid of AI. I think you need to use it with as a whole lot of fun. And on the previous slide, it said use it as Google. I'm going to be naughty and say I do use it a little bit like Google because I get some really good things coming out of it. I use it a lot for research and development and analyzing very complex information. I use it as a teacher to draft reports about how a student is doing or not doing, and to share it with either them or their parents in some instances. I think I love to use it for software. So if I don't understand some software on my laptop, what I do is I take a picture of it with my phone and I'll say, can you help me with this? And then it says, yeah, click here, click there, click here. And I find that very, very helpful because I'm downloading quite a lot of different software programs at the moment. So I use it for that. The other day I did a little exercise, and I don't know if any of you have done it, but it was pretty cool. I opened the fridge and I took a photo of the fridge, and I said I used ChatGPT for that one. I said to ChatGPT, look at what's in the fridge, list it, and then give me some various meals that I can make, and also give me the recipe. You'll be amazed. The ChatGPT knew exactly what was in my fridge and made some awesome recommendations. So yeah, whole lot of fun, and I do use it for work. I save a hell of a lot of time as a teacher writing reports, and but I'll show you a little bit more about that later. Thanks, Justine.
Thank you, Robert. All right, so I'm just going to share quickly how I like to use AI, and this is by no means the right way or the wrong way. It's just a way to use it. So I like to say that I use it as an extension of my cognition. I go back and forth so frequently when I'm brainstorming something that I couldn't even tell you if it was my idea or if it was AI's idea, because it's been evolved and co-created so regularly. So it is just kind of something that I do naturally at this point, is using AI. And I also think of it as a digital employee. I like to practice how I speak as a leader towards AI, so that I don't get into robotic speak. I do say please and thank you, and I do like to be very clear and concise, because practicing that while I use AI really does help me when I lead and communicate with others. My primary use cases are planning and organizing. I'm someone that tends to have big visionary ideas. So it's really helpful for me to get it all out. It might be really messy. Sometimes I even use a voice chat to just be rambling for 5 minutes. And then what happens is my AI will just sort of cleanly and neatly and put that in a package and a nice outline for me, so it makes sense and is not just a wall of text. I do use it for research and learning support as well, some looking upping. I just try to make sure that I'm checking my sources when I do that. And for me, learning support, I like to use it in a step-by-step way. Sometimes you ask AI something and it gives you that like 5-page answer. But one of my techniques for when I'm trying to learn something new, especially if it's something technical like coding, I'll say, just give me one step, and then we'll talk about how I did on that step before we can move forward. So I like that you can personalize and customize your own learning experience using AI. Generating content is a big part of what I do as a learning experience designer. So I'm constantly creating images, captions, communications, workshop materials, wraparound learning support. So for me, it's a big part of my work. It's very relevant to my work. I also use it for intellectual cohesion and brand alignment. I do a lot of projects and collaborations with folks. And if I were to not have that brand alignment, it would seem like I'm doing 8,000 things that don't relate to one another. So for me, it's been helpful to be able to brainstorm with AI, to be able to have this cohesive narrative of what I'm doing, who I am, kind of that elevator pitch, and being able to make sure that everything ties back to a single brand. Finally, I also create digital clones or custom GPTs. My preferred tool is still ChatGPT at this point. And I have a Plus subscription, so it's only $20 a month. And what it allows me to do is create my own customized version of ChatGPT that is able to do something specific or talk in a certain tone of voice or way. So I have about 5 of those, and it's really helpful for me to have a bot that does like one thing really well, as well as being able to share it with clients, especially if you make some sort of like customer service bot that answers a lot of the questions that you get over and over and over. It could be useful for that. Any questions about that before we move forward? As I mentioned, this is not the only way. This is just how I use it. Amira, I see you have your hand up.
Hey, hello everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I'm from Egypt. Okay.
Welcome.
Welcome.
I use ChatGPT in my work, but when I asked him some questions, he didn't customize what in my mind. Yes, he said a brief one, not all my things in my mind. I want. He can said that. So I use it wrong, or what I can use? How can I use it specifically to do my job in the perfect way? Not in his in his mind. His mind, not in my mind. Do, do you understand what I say?
Yeah, I understand what you're talking about. So yes, the AI does kind of come with a default way of thinking, and that may not be how you think, and that may not be how you do your work. So it is important for it, so that they call that training. It has a training set, a way in which it was programmed to think and generate information for you. You can adjust that over time, and what helps in those situations is being extremely specific in your instructions. It cannot read your mind. It does not know who you are. So you do have to say, you know, here's what I want, here's who I am. And we will get into that in this class about like the best practices for being extremely specific to get the best prompt. But I'm going to tack on an additional suggestion of talking to it a little bit, chatting with it, not necessarily, you know, befriending it, but I would say talking to it so it understands your motivations as a person, maybe understanding a little bit about how you think. Maybe you could even share a personality profile or just more information about you. And the more it knows about you, the better it gets at guessing how you might want to see information. Does that make
Okay.
sense?
Yes. Thanks. Thank you very much.
No problem. All right. So let's talk a little bit about our learning objectives here today. We also can adjust. Just want to let you know that in advance. So this is just what we plan to discuss, but if you have a burning question, please jump in at any time, raise your hand or come off mute, type in chat, whatever you need to do to communicate with us. We can adjust this class for you. This is your time. But what we have planned to discuss is finding out what AI is actually good at right now, as well as what it's not good at. And it's important to know the difference. And this will change over time. We're going to need to update this presentation probably all the time to make sure that we know what it's really good at right now and what it's not good at, because it is constantly and quickly evolving. We will go over some of the things I just talked about with Amira on how to ask AI better questions so you get the answers you want. So you're not getting that boilerplate response with AI speak. There are ways that you can, you know, improve the output. And then we'll talk a little bit about a specific online learning use case, because most of us are educators in this room here, and specifically online educators. So Robert has a fantastic example that he will share with you, just a trick of the trade, and we've got a lot of them, and hopefully we can share with each other. Finally, we would just like to ask you your pain points and what you think we could help you with and how you want to learn and your preferences for that in the future. So you're part of the community now, welcome, and this is an ongoing journey. Is there anything else on the top of your mind right now that you would like to get out of this workshop, something you were hoping to see that maybe is not listed here in our learning objectives that we could add in for you? Okay. Again, feel free to pop in chat or come off mute if you do have a question that just occurs to you while we're speaking. Okay, so let's get into some definitions here so that we can make sure our language is clear throughout this course. So I may be talking about AI, but there are different ways in which AI is used and different types of AI. So let's get clear on what those are. First, there's generative AI, and that is typically what people are talking about when they say like AI. They're talking about tools like ChatGPT or Claude that generate content, text, code, images, or ideas in response to a prompt. So you have to open up the tool and type in something or say something to it in order to get it to actually do anything for you and create it. It's not going to do it on its own. And it also, as we just discussed, has sort of a default template in how it thinks and speaks. So so you have to prompt it over time to get it to be a little bit more personalized for you. But that is generative AI. It's really good at, like, you know, coming up with creative writing and captions for Instagram and things like that, pictures, whatever might be useful for you. It can save a lot of time if you're generating content. Also, as a teacher, I'll mention sometimes I use this for lesson planning as well as designing a curriculum or creating handouts or things like that. As a teacher, it can be really, really useful when it comes to generating stuff. Then we have agentic AI. So you might have heard of agents. And so let me talk a little bit about what those are. So an agent is an AI tool that can decide what to do kind of autonomously across tools. So you are delegating a little bit of authority to an agent more so than a Gen AI tool. And the idea is you're basically giving it an outcome or a goal, saying, I want this, and then it decides how to get there. And it may include working across a variety of tools. So an example would be if you say, I want a dinner reservation at an Italian restaurant on Friday. That's not super specific. So the AI might, if you've set up an agent to be able to do this workflow, it may do its own research to determine Italian restaurants in your area. Then it might research the reservation systems that they have built into their online software, and then book a reservation based on the time that you told them for however many people that you told them. So ultimately, what you're going to get at the end of that is just a reservation at a mystery restaurant. You may not know what it is. So it's going to give you the outcome, but it makes some decisions for you. So it's important to know when you are setting up an agent that you need to embed some oversight into that workflow, because if it's making all the decisions, that could be potentially outside your control at that point. Finally, let's talk about automation. So automation has been around forever and ever and ever. This is not an AI specific thing. We just now have versions of automation that could also be enhanced by AI. And an agent is actually an example of that. So an agent, you're creating a predefined workflow, something that they do over and over and over, maybe even without your own prompting. Maybe the prompt is do this every morning, and then it does it without you prompting it every morning. So that's an automation. However, if AI is included, there might be generation or decision making that is made throughout the workflow by the tool rather than you. But automation in general is just a predefined workflow that executes tasks based on a trigger. So even if you were to set up an automation that gives you a notification every morning to take your medicine or something like that, like that's an automation, even though there's no AI involved in that. So just know that those are separate things, and sometimes they're conflated. Any questions about these terms before we move forward? Cool. All right, so let's get into a reality check as it relates to Gen AI specifically. So we will be focusing this workshop just on Gen AI. We're not talking about agents, and we're not talking about automation. If you want to talk about that at some point, we totally can. But today it's just Gen AI. So what is it good at? It is really good at turning incomplete ideas into structured outlines. And that is the primary way in which I use it. That's that wall of text, that vague idea, that morning brain dump where you have all these ideas and they're kind of all over the place. If you just feed that into AI, it's really good at generating an outline for you of like feeding back, this is what you said, but in a much cleaner and concise way. That's useful. And then it's really good at drafting and iterating quickly. So if you need to compose an essay or an email or something written, that would otherwise, maybe you don't even know where to start, or maybe it's just, you're getting that like blank screen syndrome. It's a good way to kind of give you a first draft. And then you can edit it yourself before you send it, post it, share it, whatever. But it's also pretty good at iterating quickly. So if you get that first result and it's not quite spot on, you can ask it, hey, can you maybe say this in a different way, or use a different tone, or maybe do it just in a different way. So you can give it some edit suggestions. We're going to talk about best practices around doing that, though, because what we really want to do for the most part is get a really great first result rather than continually reprompt and iterate. Okay, next, it's really good at analyzing information from long text and images. So if you have an article, let's say a Harvard Business Review article, and you're really curious about it, but you don't have time to read the whole thing right now, you can feed the article into AI and then ask it a few questions about the content within it, or to summarize something for you, and it's really good at doing that. So that way, if you have just 5 minutes versus a half an hour to consume some content, it can break it down for you pretty quick. It can also do that with an image. So sometimes, we don't have the ability to copy and paste whatever we want to share with AI. So you can take a screenshot of something and send that to AI, and it can analyze the text within an image. It can also analyze the image itself. So let's say it's just a photo, and maybe it's a picture of yourself in the morning, and you say, I've got an interview today. What do you think of my outfit? You can actually get information about a visual as well. Providing options and different perspectives. This is a great use of AI, which is to basically, because it's known for validating us, saying, oh, great idea, right? Even if it's a terrible idea. But what it can do is give you alternative ideas, which is really cool. You can say like, what might an executive think about this? What might my education administrator think about this? What might my wife think about this? But that you can get those potential hypothetical inputs and perspectives that maybe you wouldn't have thought of on your own or have been able to sort of see through that objective lens. And finally, being a thinking partner is really good at just bouncy balling the idea just back and forth, and you can start a brainstorming session and just say, hey, I'm thinking about doing a little bit of this, and it can be incomplete, and then ask it some questions, and then it can help you complete the idea so that by the time you walk away from that thinking session with AI, you have a much more like concrete and well-developed idea. So that's what it's really good at. I'm going to pause here because I would like to know from your own experience. Seems like there's a lot of confident AI users in the room. What do you find that it's good at? Feel free to come off mute or type in chat, whatever you want to do.
What was the question?
Question is, outside of this list that I have shared, have you experienced something that AI is good at that I haven't listed here?
I think you said everything, nothing else.
Okay, great. All right, so let's now get into. Oh, sorry, Mira.
Can I say?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
You were kind of like chopping in and out. Did you have a question?
Okay. Can I say what is good at
Yeah.
AI?
Yeah.
Yes. A may say risky. He is a rescue for me for many situations. That if I have a specific situation at that moment, I sent to ChatGPT and he's said to me many ideas for this situation that may one of them is fit for me.
Can you give us an example without the specifics?
Yeah, example, it's last time I passed with an urgent. I don't express it in English. I don't know how to express it in English, but I have a disease as like a disease suddenly happened to me, and I didn't know what can I do. He said to me, I can make first step, second step, then I go to the doctor. So I make that what he say. Then I go. I finally go to the doctor, and as just it's very helpful for me. That's one.
Cool, I love that. Yeah.
Okay, but I don't rely on him on medicine or surgery or something like that. Okay, I take from him an idea, not it's being a doctor. No, it's not. It's not a doctor. So I take one idea to begin from. That's so he rescue me.
I love that. Yeah, no, that's a great use case. It's just kind of like educate yourself before speaking to a doctor, and then finally, leaving the ultimate, medical decision up to the doctor. But yeah, going into that room a little bit more educated about your options. That's great. Love that.
Okay, thanks.
حبيبتي المصريين يا أميرة.
Hi, Mai.
هاي حبيبتي.
Friends in the room. Awesome.
Cool.
Okay, so let's shift gears here and let's talk a little bit about what it's not good at. And this is just right now. So again, this could change over time. Is someone trying to speak?
Yes. Hello. Hello. Did someone want to say something? No. Okay.
Okay. All right. So so this might evolve, and so for right now, these are just our.
This is the question. Like.
Hello.
Yeah. Yes.
Yes. That's absolutely. Please ask.
Yes, Mr. Robert. May I?
Yes, please. We cannot.
In international school. Can you hear? Can you hear me?
Not so well, but now I can.
It comes
Good.
in and out.
So, okay. So personally, I'm creative. I used to learn different AIs. Recently, I get a job like as a strategical AI, a beginner level, just a remote job. Honestly, I learned like several AIs, but I'm not sure that I'm going to handle as a strategical AI. So AI expert at this level because honestly, I'm confident try to new things through time and then learning several AIs like as you know like cloud, Canva, and different things like because most of the time I'm just create several things here. So what's your advice as expert on AI, especially when I'm just working as a strategical AI, I mean AI entry level job? What's your advice?
Advice as it relates to what?
Related with AI, because mainly the job by itself, it's like, using AIs, especially on marketing, how I should convince and how I should lead the customers in different brands. But the position is new for me. So what's your advice as if you know about this position in general? I'm just starting as a remote staff.
Gotcha. Okay. So I mean, just to clarify expectations here, neither Robert and I are like AI developers or anything like that. We are both educators. And this session in particular is for folks who are also educators, even specifically online educators. So we don't have any specific advice for you as it relates to being an AI expert. We're not AI experts. We're just people who are looking to apply it in our work to save ourselves some time and be more productive. So that's kind of our perspective, and that's the lens we're looking at it through here. If there is a use that you are interested in, maybe we can create a separate class at some point for that, whatever you're doing in your work. But just want to be clear on that. Makes sense? Okay, cool. All right, any other questions before we talk about what AI is not good at right now? Okay. All right.
So I think from our side, Justine, what it's good at is changing so quickly and all the time. I was on Claude last night, and they've come out with so they had Haiku, Sonnet, Opus. These are all like the deeper you want to dive sort of opportunities, and they've just come out with Fable 5, which is for your really toughest challenges. So it really does a deep seek. So what I'm actually saying is ChatGPT, Claude, all of them, Gemini, are in a race, they're in a race to be more effective and efficient.
Yeah, I would second that. I would say, especially with as much image generation that I do, and ChatGPT used to be kind of so at that, and then just a couple months ago they updated their image generation, and it was like 10 times better. So it does just advance very quickly, and it is cool that they're investing a lot in just making the tool better to be able to help us. So I like that.
And another thing is, for example, sorry, Justine, another thing, for example, that has happened, and I can show you a little bit later, is that Claude is doing fantastic PowerPoint presentations. And, a month or two back, it wasn't like that. But I'll show you a bit later. Sorry, Justine, for jumping in.
No, we're good. We're good. Okay, so I'm just going to speed run through this, what it's not so good at list right now so that we can stay on time. First of all, it is not so great currently at intuiting real world context. This goes back to what Amira was saying earlier. It doesn't know what we're thinking. It doesn't know our social dynamics, our power dynamics, our triggers, our hopes and needs and expectations in life. So we do have to feed that into it. It's not going to guess. It's pretty neutral, you know, as a base model. It's not great at making ethical decisions or important judgment calls. And this is important, especially if you're building agents. So make sure you're still building the human in the loop so that those decisions are left up to a person and not the computer. It is not always so great at producing perfect results on the first try, but we're going to give you some recommendations on how you might be able to do that. Because what happens when you do generate content and then keep iterating over time, it can lose quality. Because it is recreating it every time. It's not like going to go in there and edit it. If you want to do that, where you just want to change one word or something like that, just do that yourself, because it's going to just recreate the whole thing each time if you keep iterating. And it might change things you didn't want to change. So just keep that in mind. It's not great at replacing human interaction. So if you are experiencing loneliness or you do want deep connection with another person, we don't recommend using a bot for that. And then we talked a lot about the hallucinations. So it's not great at guaranteeing accuracy or truth, but that doesn't mean that it's not useful. I don't want you to think that like, oh, because it's not always 100% true or because it sometimes hallucinates that it's not a useful tool. Think about how many times in your life you generate content or text that it doesn't have to be totally true. It can be convincing if you're writing a caption or marketing materials or things like that. I mean, you don't want to like totally lie, but you might be using creative language, and that is what it is designed to be, as a creative language tool. So keeping that in mind, it is not designed, unless you're using a specific research tool, to write in a technical, completely accurate way. Any additional things you would like to add to this list, something that you have discovered that AI is not great at? Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and move forward, and let's talk a little bit about prompting. So this is you putting in your question so that you get the output that you want. So starting with prompt standards. Prompt standards are kind of the basic rules that keep your train on the tracks. So basically keeps everything in line, moving towards the thing that you want. And it helps for all prompts to have these 4 elements. The first would be your goal. What are you trying to achieve? What is the problem you're trying to solve? Make sure it knows that, because it may give you an answer that solves a problem that you weren't asking for if you don't clarify that up front. Why does this matter? This is that part where if you feel like AI is giving you a really generic answer, giving it the why. Why do you care about this? Why is this important to you? Why is this important to your job? Why is this important to at all? Give it the why, and it may reframe how it gives you the answer in a way that's more relevant to you. Give it some guardrails. Tell it what information should be included in this generation and what shouldn't. I don't want to see things from Wikipedia. I don't want to see anything with an M dash. I don't want to see, you can tell it what you don't want to see in the generation, or what not to pull from, or how not to say it. But you can also tell it what you do want it to include, or, please make it sound like, President Lincoln. You can be really creative and specific as to like how you want that generation. So that would be the guardrails. That would be like, what frames the answer. And then the answer itself, you need to be very clear on what format you're looking for, because the default is going to be text. So if you're looking for something other than text, if you want it in the format of like a song, or you want a poem, or you want a image or a video or something like that, you need to be very clear as like, that's the type of output I'm looking for here. Otherwise you'll just get into a really long conversation about whatever you're asking about. So these are our prompt standards. This isn't specific to prompt engineering. We'll get into that next. Any questions about those 4 standards? Every prompt should have this so that your first prompt is pretty darn good. Okay. So prompt engineering then is the practice of getting a little bit more technical, and it starts with tool selection, knowing what tool to use for the task at hand. Not all LLM tools are perfect for every single task that you're trying to do. Sometimes you don't even want to use AI for something. It like may not be the right tool at all. That's part of that discernment and knowing what it's not good at. Or sometimes you might need to use 2 or 3 different tools depending on what kind of task you're trying to create, or if you're doing something very complex. So the tool selection piece, that's even before you begin prompting. You want to know, which tools you're using and what they're really good at. Abstract inquiry. So that is when you give AI somewhat of a hypothetical, or you ask it to frame the information in a specific way or generate creative content. So that is something that it can do, and that is technically abstract inquiry. So if it gives you a first result and then you tell it to then rewrite it in the voice of President Lincoln, that's just, that's abstract inquiry. You're asking it to change the frame and change the tone, but not necessarily change the content or the information. And I love to say here that this is like a form of leadership. This is something that, like, if you were working with an employee and you are their manager or their leader, they might give you something at first that is a little generic. And at being able to see that first draft, you're able to then say, you know what? I want to see it this way. And then they come back and do it a different way. So it can be a really good practice of developing your own leadership skills to get good at prompt engineering. And then the last is output improvement. So this is when you get your first draft of whatever comes out first out of that initial generation, and then you take a look at it. You decide to send it back to AI to edit it for you. So you want to reprompt it very specifically and let them know what differences you want to see. And it is important to remember that the first thing that you get is probably pretty close to the best thing, especially if it's like an email draft or an essay or something like that. You're not just brainstorming. If you're actually generating a final product, the more you reprompt it, as we said, the more it's going to change and change and change and change over time. So if you really just want to change and tweak it slightly, copy and paste it and edit it yourself. That's the best way to go. But there might be certain circumstances where you do want it to completely rewrite it. Whatever they outputted was like totally off. Then you can then reprompt it to rewrite it completely. Any questions about prompt engineering? Amira, I see your hand up.
Yes, Amira.
Yeah. How can I choose the tool that it may be benefit for me? Is that if I make a BBT, as an example, so I have many websites or many things I can do the BBT, but as the output improvements that you say here, I choose say Gamma. Okay, so he make the BBT, then to improve the AI output, he needs upgrade. So I stopped. Yeah, upgrade right now. So I can't upgrade now right now. So my work is stopped at that moment. Okay. So how can I choose my AI tool to make my work at this moment? Not needed to go to another website to go to another thing. Okay, that's clear for you. What I want to say.
Yep. Thank you. So it really is going to depend on what task you're doing. And we're going to do an exercise in a moment where you'll be able to test something out with a variety of tools. And we focus here in this class on the big 4, which would be ChatGPT, Claude, Gemini, and Copilot. And Gemini and Copilot are typically embedded into enterprise tools. So if you're working for a company, it's probably going to be one or the other of those, unless they have a proprietary AI software. So ultimately, it's going to depend on what you're trying to do, as far as which big tool you want to use. And then also, if you already have an existing subscription at one of them, you should probably maybe start there. But if you don't have an existing subscription for anything, doing some research to find out which tool would be the best fit for you. So, I mean, there's bazillions of use cases as to like what you could use with AI. And there's also a whole bunch of things we haven't discovered yet. So we cannot make any like sort of broad recommendations on what you personally should do. And there's no one size fits all magic bullet AI tool. I'll just say that there's not, you know, all of them have some strengths and all of them have some weaknesses. You just got to find the one or ones that work best for you and your specific workflow.
Yes, so I asked ChatGPT for to give me the best AI tool. Can I ask him about that?
Yeah, you can definitely do that. I think you're going to get a better answer if you tell it specifically what the tasks are. Because if you just say what's the best one, that's a really broad question. They might base that on price. They might base that on speed. I mean, there's a whole bunch of criteria. So you need to say what is the best AI tool for X task.
Okay, thanks. Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. All right, so I'm going to pass the mic over to Robert now to talk about a specific use case he has, and he does use a variety of tools. You'll see this, Amira, is like it's not just one tool that he's using for the use case. So sometimes you have to think broadly about the task itself. So please enjoy.
Thank you. So what you will see, let me just put that up. Can you see my screen? Oops. Can you see my screen there? Oh, man. Why is it going like that?
Yes, it's clear.
Stop sharing. Let's reshare again. Okay. So one of the things I use AI for, I have a company that has a very specific template as to how they want feedback for students. Why won't it open? Opening. Sorry, guys. I think there's. Stop sharing and try again. Okay, let me try again, guys. Sorry about this. Okay, so what I said is I have a company that's pretty wants reports done in a very specific way. Why is it not showing me the report? Any ideas here, Justine?
Where your report is? I see Lucas evaluation report.
Yeah, but when I click on it, it won't open. It's very strange.
Don't know about that.
This is terrible.
Add into the chat, maybe?
Let me close it down. Can you add it to chat? Try again. Close it down and have a look. Give me the transcription. Okay, so basically what happens is I transcribed this class. So I taped it basically using my phone. And everything that was said in the lesson was captured on phone. And then I took that transcription and put it into, in my case, I enjoy using Claude. So I put the transcription of the file into, the transcribed file into to Claude. And I also used the template that the company wants. It was a blank template, and that blank template, I then asked Claude to complete it for me. So it was completely blank. So here we go. I'm going to show you how it works. So I put it back into Claude, and I said to Claude, write the report for Lucas. Okay. See if one more time if I can open it. No, it still doesn't want to. Very weird. Okay. The other thing that I've used it for is to help me with presentations and to make them more zhuzh, as Justine likes to say. So, for example, and this is what I mentioned earlier. I said that Claude has really updated its ability to do really great PowerPoint presentations. So here's an example. Please look at the first PowerPoint presentation I'm bringing up and look at the look and the feel and basically how unprofessional it is. It's terrible. So what I did then is I put that into Claude and I asked Claude to make it zhuzh, make it look good. And this is what it comes back with within 2 or 3 minutes. In the company's brand identity, all the content nicely set out, exactly what you want to achieve in the warm-up, what's the target language, yeah, how do you do presentations, breakout rooms with practice rooms, debating, and this was for executive English, so it's pretty senior people. Yeah, so that happens very quickly. The other thing that I used it for, which was quite cool, or not quite cool, very cool, because it's super time consuming. I was working with a company at a stage, and I took the video of a class that I've given to very, very young students, and you will notice this is the class that it was, and I'm just going to flick through it quickly. So there were five. There were 5 students, and this was a young girl, and in the class there were 5 students. So I took the MP4 player and I put it into Claude. Oh no, hang on, this one was ChatGPT. Claude didn't like the video. And the results or the test of the 5 students in one class, 60-minute video, gave me exactly over here the results of each of the students. So Alice, Doris, Lucy, Nancy, sorry, there were 6 in here. They gave the pronunciation, the vocabulary, grammar, fluency, and you do need to check it because I disagreed on 1 or 2 of the things. And then it went as far as to write a small report on each of the students. That in the past would have taken me maybe an hour. So let's have a look. Damn, did I close it? Ah. Yeah. Let's see what Claude's done. Oh, hang on, that didn't do it. Sorry, guys, I closed Claude by mistake. I'm going to add it in again. Please. Come on here. Justine, I think, just carry on for now.
Okay.
Let's try one more time. It's going to take a bit of time. I don't know why it's playing up, but anyway. Please eat. Then no, something wrong. Okay, please carry on. Oh, here it is. Here it is. So remember, that whole template was blank. And what came out, it filled out an empty, it won't open this full. Unreal. Why is it not doing this? I'm terribly sorry, it's not opening.
No worries.
Try once more to close it. Let me just try once more. Stop sharing. There we go. No, I'm sorry, Justine, it's not doing it.
That's okay. I had
I
my
will
own
keep
technical
trying.
issues today.
You continue. I'll work in the background and see if I can fix it.
All right, I'll take over here. Okay, so we want to know now, in terms of your own work, what eats up the most time for you. So I want you to return to the Mentee. So if you still have the screen up, that's good. If you don't, you can re-enter using the code or the QR. And I'm going to share the Mentee again so we can see our results. We have a couple questions about what's eating up your time as a educator. So I'm going to switch over to that. Okay, see if it lets me move forward here. Okay. Okay, so teachers, what takes up the most time for you each week? Is it writing curricula and lesson plans, creating tests and quizzes, writing feedback on student work, grading assignments, responding to parent emails, creating personalized study materials based on the student's level, creating worksheets or classroom activities, or other admin junk that we all have to do? Again, please select all that apply. I know there's probably a few. Looks like we have an even spread here. Interesting. Cool.
Wow.
Is there anything that I haven't listed here that's taking up a lot of your time that you'd like to share with the group? Okay, cool. I'm going to return now. So remember what you picked with the one that takes up your most time. Remember that. And I'm going to flip back to our original presentation, and we're going to get into our applied AI activity now. So what I want you to do is think about that task, and I want you to take a look at the tools that we have listed on the screen. And we have outlined for you what they're kind of good at. And what they're best for in terms of, how to select the right tool. So this is part of prompt engineering, is selecting the right tool. But we're going to also recommend to you open up all 4 tabs in your laptop so you can try all the tools. So what the task is here is ask AI how it might help you with that particular task that's eating up the most of your time. So instead of telling it to do anything right now, you're getting advice from it and asking how it can help you in the best way, because there might be options that you're unaware of. So do that right now. Open up at least one tool, but you are welcome to open up all 5 or all 4 and let us know what your result is. Ask it how it can help you with that one thing. Progress report. Good one. Yep. So put that into AI, copy and paste that and say, how can you help me with student reports and progress? And if you get a really cool result, please share with us. You can come off mute or type it in chat.
Yeah, writing reports about students' progress is pretty easy right now with different platforms. I'm finding that personally that Claude is excellent.
If anyone gets a result, please share. We'd love to know what advice you got from the tool that you use, or tools. Amira, go ahead and come up mute.
Yes, I asked Copilot about to make a presentation about quadratic functions, and he described the slides how it can be, and he said to me after that, can I make it visual or not? But I didn't ask him to make it visual. He described 10 slides presentations, and he's asked me, would you like to design sample slide visuals, like a ready-to-use background with parabola graphs? So can I ask him, can he build the PowerPoint?
Yeah. So if it gives you a piece of advice that you want to take, you can just keep moving forward with that tool. But just keep in mind, it may not be the best tool to give you that output. So even if it might be the best tool to give you the advice, you might need to go to a different tool to create the thing itself.
Okay. Again, what's your advice? Is it perfect or not? And another one. What's your advice, please? I can hear you.
I'm not really understanding the question. I mean, yeah, I'm not understanding the question.
You said that you may give me an advice. Yeah.
Yes, the tool. That was the activity. So the tool, you're asking the tool for advice. You're saying, how can you help me?
Yeah. Yes. It's the tool to how to advise for give me an activity or something like that. Yeah. Okay. I will ask him now.
Yep. Just say like, what suggestions do you have for helping me save time?
May I ask a question?
Yes. Go ahead.
Thank you. So thank you very much for your presentation, because it's easy to identify what kind of AI I need to use while I'm teaching in the school. So one of my question is, like, when I write report about students' progress, what AI tools might be more helpful from your experience? And then the other thing, I'm really curious about learning space. For example, if you go in the classroom, how can I make more accessible for the students? in terms of, safety reason, or it can by itself, to engage students while they are
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble
learning in the
hearing
class.
you. It's
So what's
chopping
your
in and out a
advice
little
on
bit.
this? Thank
I'm
you.
sorry, I can't hear you.
So I sort of picked it up.
Okay.
Personally, I think you need to try all of them. My personal opinion about writing reports on students is Claude. And hopefully it's going to work this time. So yes, I enjoy using Claude. And the reason I like using Claude, if you look at the bottom over here, you'll see, I'm just picking up there, I use Opus for complex tasks. And the reason I use it for complex tasks is you don't want to get it wrong with the student. The newest model has just come out called Fable 5 up here. And if you remember earlier, I'm going to see if I can find it this time. Remember, we used the transcription, and we got I asked Claude to complete. Let's see if it can. I'll close everything down. Okay, now it's working. Thank goodness. So, sir, yes, what I wanted to show you was there's a blank template of how this company wants you to score students. So it comes completely blank. I then took, as I mentioned to you earlier, the transcript. So what I did is I took my phone and I just taped the whole conversation, and here it is. I put both of those into ChatGPT, and I came out with I'll talk to you about the paid version now. And within 3 minutes, this is what came out. Gave the proper date, it gave my name, gave the student's name. It then scored the student by itself. You will see based on pronunciation and intonation, fluency, etc. And the best part, which I love the most, is that actually pulled out what pronunciation he needs to work on, what vocabulary he needs to work on, what grammar does he need to work on. And it's all written out for you, so you can just either cut and paste if you need it. Fluency and coherence, what in conclusion, what do you think about the student? And in the past, that would have taken me half an hour. Now it's done quick, and it saves me a lot of time. Somebody wanted to ask me a question. Did someone want to ask me a question? Yeah. Robert, what's the paid version of Claude? Okay, I do use the paid version of Claude. It is Claude Pro, which is you get the free version and then you get the next version up. And I paid the other day just under 500 Rand in, so it's like $20. But if you start using it for complex tasks, it's better to have a paid version because you just get more tokens. What will happen is if you overuse Claude, which is very seldom, it will say to you, look, just hang on, you can start working on me again in about an hour or so. That's quite interesting. ChatGPT, like I said to you earlier, for me it takes videos and transcribes videos far better than Claude, or it used to, but it's changing fast all the time. Sorry, Justine, I've eventually found the stuff.
No, I'm glad you found it. Would anyone else like to share their the advice that they got from AI as it applies to the task that would save them the most time? Okay, so let's go ahead and wrap this up here. We, at this point, would just love to know what's next for you on your applied AI learning journey. So I'm going to share our Menti one last time, and I would love to know what you hope to do next, and the best way in which we could support you on your learning journey. So I'm going to switch to the next slide. You should be able to pop back into your Menti. Oh, we do have a QR code right up on the screen, so that makes it easy too. And how would you prefer to learn about using AI in your work next? So you can check all that apply. One-on-one coaching or consulting. Robert's focus would be more online teaching. Mine would be more leadership oriented. And then we also could offer weekly small group labs where we share a certain use case and then chat about it and see how we can apply that for the next week. We could also answer your questions in that moment too of whatever came up during the week. We have a AI bot that is a learning assistant that we can share with you. It's called The Engineer, and it has all of the content from this course. And you can personalize it and also get some of those additional use cases as well as the advice on how to save time and what tools might be best for that. Cool, I see some learning labs as an option, some coaching. Awesome, really cool. Yeah, we would love to do that with you. So we will follow up. So to share what we will be offering you after this course, we will be giving you this recording. I'll be sharing you a YouTube link so that you can watch this if you at your own time, if you want to rewatch any of the things that we discussed here today. I will also share you an AI generated meeting summary. It was not a complete transcript, it's just a summary of what we discussed here today. I will be sharing you an info site, which will include all of the content that we went through here today. So you didn't need to take notes, or I'm not going to be sending out the PowerPoint. It's all there. As well as a link to that bot, the Engineer, if you'd like to check that out and see if you can maybe use AI to learn how to use AI and support your work. If there's anything else you would like from us, please do not hesitate to reach out. The best way to keep in touch with us is to just stay connected to that WhatsApp group. We do not spam you. We will just maybe periodically pop in any dates or times that we might be offering a new workshop or potentially some weekly learning labs. So before we go, we invite you to also connect with us in another way. If you'd like to connect with us on Instagram, we have a Instagram account for the Future Applied, which would be all very specific to this type of content. You can at us at thefuture.applied at Instagram. And if you want to connect with us individually, you can see our handles up there at the top. If you love this learning experience, please use AI to generate a cyborg image of yourself and tag us on Instagram. If you have any other questions, I will be on the call for the next 3 or 4 minutes. If not, just feel free to reach out to us after the class. Thank you so much for your time, and we hope to see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very
One
much.
of
Thank you.
the question. May I ask a question? One more question.
Yes, please.
Yeah. About classroom design. Mostly we usually design by ourselves, but what I really understand recently, is there any AI that I can feed a picture of the classroom or the learning space? Might be, recommend the learning space.
Yeah. So what I've seen in the past, and what I haven't done it myself recently, is that I've seen estate agents take photographs of a room and then ask it to maximize. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then AI basically did it. Put furniture in the place, etc. So if I ask ChatGPT, if I ask Claude, sorry, let me show you here. If you ask Claude, can you see that? Justine?
Nope.
No. Okay.
Let me stop presenting.
Oh yeah, got it. If you look here, sir, you will see that I asked it, can you help with classroom design? And it's basically said, yeah, do you want, how do you set it up with the online teacher, a physical classroom? This is what I like about Claude. Claude actually prompts you and asks you a couple of questions. Virtual and visual slide background, something else. Okay, so yes, it will probably help you. Remember again, I'm on the lowest paid version, and yeah, I get a lot of use out of it. So Claude's thinking about it now, but yes, you can take photographs of your classroom and ask. I've done it with ChatGPT to help. How many students do you have in your class? No? Okay. Anyone else? 25. All right. I've actually asked Claude your question. So let's see what happens, what they come back with. So I asked Claude to do a design for 10 people. Let's see what it says. Takes a little time because remember, I'm using at this stage of the game. There you go. Are you there, sir? Hello? That gives you the ideal setup for 10 people. Are you there, sir? Can you see that? So I asked Claude what's the best for 10 people, and this is what it's come up with. Any questions? Can you hear me, Justine?
Oh, I hear you. I think they may be off the call.
Oh, okay. Well, then it's a positive, yeah.
Yeah. Great.
Thanks, Philip. Thanks, Dirje.
Have a great day, everyone.
Have a nice
Have a good
day.
day. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye, Philip. Bye. There you go.